Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. We're starting Genesis 22 today, and it's called The Test. And we're going to be reading the first part of Genesis 22, verses 1 through 12 today. This is where Abraham is tested. When I prepare for a lot of these things, all of them, there's a lot of reading I do beforehand. And one of the books that I found helpful for this study is Understanding the Book of Genesis by Skip Heitzig. So anyway, you can get that one around. But he had several quotes here. He said, I once heard a Yiddish proverb that says, God sends burdens, but first he sends shoulders to bear those burdens. Okay? He doesn't just give you a big old backpack that weighs 65 pounds, but he first develops your shoulders so you can carry that backpack, the distance that you need to. And then also he says in here too, preparation precedes examination. So God had been preparing Abraham all this time, and this was kind of a test here. Well, it was a test, not kind of, it was a test here to see what Abraham would do. So let's see what happens here. This is Genesis 22, verses 1 through 12. Okay? It says, sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here am I, he replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on the mountain I will show you. Okay? This is the first time that love is used in the Bible, this in Genesis 22. Not through Adam and Eve and all the other stuff, but love takes place here, and it's the love between a father and a son, and how much Abraham loved his son. Okay? So, verse 3, early in the morning Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. He took with him two of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out for the place God had told him about. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Did you catch that? On the third day. Okay, so this particular story parallels a lot with, and it's a foreshadowing of what's going to take when Jesus is crucified. Okay, so Jesus is crucified, and on the third day he rises. And this, on the third day, Abraham knows that he's supposed to sacrifice Isaac. So to him, Isaac is dead for 3 days here. Okay, and it's when he's about to kill him, and then God says, nope, stop, don't do that. That's like a resurrection there, because it's like, oh, wow, this is great. He's alive. So let me reread verse 4. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servant, stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you. Catch that sentence again, too. He says, we will go and worship, and then we will come back to you. He didn't say, I will come back to you. He said, we will come back to you. So Abraham, and if you read read the other parts of the Bible, and then Hebrews also, Abraham was doing this, but expecting God to, in the very least, raise him from the dead. Okay? So Abraham was like thinking, God's done, I've waited all this time for the son and stuff. Surely he's not going to be dead, but Abraham has to go through with this whole thing. But Abraham thought if he dies, God will raise him from the dead. Okay. Because, the promise is through Isaac here. Verse 6, Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son, Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife, and the two of them went on together. Isaac spoke up and said to his father, Father? Yes, my son, Abraham replied. The fire and the wood are here, Isaac said, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And the two of them went on together. I just read a whole bunch of implications into the crucifixion of Jesus. The wood that was used for the sacrifice, where was that placed? It was placed upon Isaac. In the same way, Jesus carried his own cross. Okay? And then, it's talking about God, verse 8, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering. And in the crucifixion of Jesus, God provided the lamb, which was Jesus. Okay, so a huge parallel. And you know what? This all takes place in basically the same place. This is Mount Moriah, where later Jerusalem and the temple were to be built. So in that same general area where all this takes place. Verse 9, when they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Okay. And Abraham is not, well, a lot of times we're thinking he's, a little, a 5-year-old boy or something like that. No, most likely he's in the 20s. We don't know for sure. Josephus had said he's like, I believe, 25 or so. But he's most likely in his 20s. And Abraham is very old. So Isaac could have easily overpowered him and go, whoa, wait a minute, you're on senile and you're not going to sacrifice me. But no, Isaac obeyed his father and went along with it. In the same way, Jesus, the Son, obeyed his father and went along with the crucifixion. Okay? Even though Jesus could have stepped off the cross. Verse 10. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. Here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Okay. Abraham was willing to give up his only son. Only son. Not just one of the sons, but his only son. For the plan of God. And God saw that, and then he passed the test. So God tests us. He doesn't test us the same way because after, in Exodus, when the law is written, it's forbidden to have child sacrifice like that, or sacrifice humans like that. But there's other testing that happens to us, and how we handle that is, God has prepared us to handle those tests, and it depends how we come out of those tests. And Abraham, he passed. He was like, I'm committed to God. I'm following God, and I'm obeying God. Okay. Thanks for watching. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we conclude chapter 22. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.